Hey, real quick before we start this video, I didn't learn until after I recorded the main part of this video that it was a top 8 cut, but they all split prizing. So first through 8th place are, it was an 8-way tie for first. So sorry for not knowing that before recording the main part, and that's going to just retroactively correct all that. But all of these lists are essentially all the same placing for that. They didn't play it out, but I did want to mention that and enjoy the video. Hey everyone, Eggman here with another video, and today we have a top 8 breakdown for the Pro PlayGames Lorcana 1K that they hosted this past weekend. It was over 40 players with this top 8 cut that we see here today, and it's part of their tour, which they have more dates coming up, including one in October. So I do want to just say thank you to PPG for not only running these events, but also for providing the deck list for them. The organized play has been kind of what it is for this game, unfortunately, so there's not like a lot of events to cover, and even the events that do happen, it's a little bit tricky to get like complete and full deck lists. So I really do appreciate what PPG does for that, and I would not be able to make this video without them. So jumping on into this breakdown, though, we do have these top 8 decks, and looking at the color distribution for it as well, it's a little bit tricky for me to decide how to kind of go over these lists, and just the fact that it's like the color combination makes it difficult to like quantify them since there's 2 of them. But looking at the color distribution, there's 5 Amethyst, with 4 of them paired with Ruby and 1 of them paired with Emerald. We have 2 Emerald decks with, again, one with Amethyst and the other one with Sapphire, and then 2 copies of Amber Steel decks as well. So kind of the breakdown there. Again, like the full like the pie chart's a little bit deceiving in the sense that if something is in every deck, it's only half the pie chart. So if there are 3 more copies of Amethyst, it'd be only half of it, since it's kind of how the distribution works. But that's just kind of how it is for this one. But we do see, like, obviously half of the decks being kind of Amethyst Ruby Control, which I think is the de facto best deck in format according to a lot of people. But it didn't win this one. We do have Amethyst Emerald taking it as well. And we're going to go over the top placing list for each one of these color combinations. And we're going to start off with that first place list of that Amethyst and Emerald. So this is Ezekiel's list here. And I'll be honest, this is pretty close to the same version I've been running myself. I really do like this color combination. It's moderately cheap as well. It's only like $160. So for anyone who's kind of wanting to get into the game and play a competitive deck, I think this is probably one of the best ones to get into. It's, again, pretty cheap. The only like expensive cards we have are what, Genie, and a couple copies, which this one's not too bad either, and it's very helpful for you. And then also the which is, it's only $4, which honestly is not too much. And then we do play Legendary, but it's John Silver, and I will continue to say this is super low price. Like, this would be probably $20+ or so, but being what it is, especially since the Legendary, it's fine. I will gladly pick up more copies of this card, but being able to, like, the disruption this card makes is great. It can be inked, which is great, but it can protect some of your pieces, and it can also, in green, when you use, give something reckless, you get removal, and also it means, like, if they, make it so they have to attack into a Flynn Rider or Cheshire Cat or one of your Cuscos, like, it's very, very strong in that sense. So I do like it. It's whenever it's played and whenever you quest with it too. So like, being able to do it twice just means that you can prevent your opponent from, like, if you give like their 1-drop Lilo, reckless, they're not going to be able to quest for 2, and they're probably just going to lose the Lilo because it's a 1/1. So that's very strong for you. But I do like this color combination. Like, Pascal is just a really obnoxious card early game as well. Maleficent and Rafiki being good 3-drops that help either draw more cards or being able to trade with something is good. And then also, like, Friends on the Other Side and Mother's Knows Best, because we play so many good 3-drops. Like, Peter Pan doesn't even mind using the Friends on the Other Side, because your opponent's going to probably have a hard time getting rid of it because it has evasive. And then Jasper's probably one of the most underrated cards that I've seen. It's so good. It's a 2/4, which means your opponent's probably going to have to spend a lot of resources to remove it early, but also the fact that you can quest with it, and you can, again, prevent like your opponent's 1-drop Lilo from questing or something like that. It just makes it really tricky for your opponent to really do anything, which is strong. So, and it can be inked, and it can also sing Friends on the Other Side, or our other song, Mother's Knows Best, which gets like a bunch of good tempo for you. There's no restrictions for the card that can be bounced back. It can also bounce back your own cards, which sometimes that makes a difference. Most of the time, I don't think I've ever used it to bounce my own card back, but you could if you really, really need to. Like, I mean, okay, actually, one time I needed a card to ink, so I like sung Mother's Knows Best, and then bounced a card that could be inked back to hand and put in my inkwell and played something. Like, that's a one-time thing, but the deck is really great. There's a lot of like very well-statted, maybe over-statted lore cards like the Hans, Cusco, and Mad Hatter, and then you also have these evasive cards like this Tinkerbell. Being a 2/3 means that it, your opponent can't just grab your sword to get rid of this, which is strong, and just kind of everything else. So this is the list here. Highly recommend it. It's very good for not only budget but also for winning. Been playing a very similar list myself, and congratulations to Ezekiel for their finish there. Next up we have Ruby and Amethyst, which is very strong in its own right. It's again the de facto deck of the format. I think it's very has answers to a lot of things, and I think it's less of when do I run the answers. It's more of do I find the answers to my opponent's board. So also a little bit chunkier in the price pool, which can dissuade some people, but it is very, very strong for it. So generally what you want to do is you just want to be a control deck. So we do play like Gaston, which can help you just get some good removal as a 4/2. It has Reckless, but it doesn't have Rush, so you can't just play it and then go for it. So but you just kind of play it early. We have Elsa, which being able to not only freeze, but also lets you go into the 8-drop, which is pretty strong and also probably one of the more expensive cards in this game right now, even at low rarity. So that is part of the reason there's a price bump for this one. But and then like we just have more control in the sense like the Aladdin lets you like give them get lore back, and you can go shift into your 7-drop for 5, which also helps you trade in the stuff and get like that lore deficit, which is great if your opponent's really aggressive with it. Maui being able to be Rush and Reckless means you can just remove something very easily with it. I also do like the Zeus. I've been seeing this a little bit more often. I'm not sure if it's a newer tech in the sense that people are playing it more or I'm just seeing it more, but just the fact that this does have Rush and Challenger, it means it can trade really easily into the stuff that like Cusco or something. Like it can help you out of some tricky spots. I feel like it can't be inked, which is a little bit rough, but I do think it's strong in its own right. Goofy kind of the same way, being able to be evasive. This usually trades into 2 evasive things at once. Like they can attack into something with evasive, usually survive, and attack into the other thing. So that's some really good like passive removal, or just like if you need to be put on a clock on your opponent, like this can quest for 2 every turn. And again, since they have evasive, a hard time. So kind of like a smaller version of Mickey, which is great because Mickey's very strong as well. We do also have the what else do we have? We have the Dragonfire, we have the Befuddle, and then also Be Prepared, which is unsurprising that this card's being played in this deck either. So I don't have anything. Also, you play Aladdin because you can shift into this, and then you can Be Prepared, which is also very, very strong. Which Elsa can also do on Elsa, but that is there. So very, very control heavy, very, very strong, and you're probably going to see this at tournaments for the rest of this format. It's a very strong deck. So congratulations to Albert for their finish there. And in third place, we have Michael with their Emerald Sapphire list, which I haven't really seen this build before, but I do like what a lot of the plays or the lines for it. It's also moderately cheap too, since it's most of it's just like the Emerald base for you, and then a couple of Sapphire cards, which are honestly quite cheap in their own right. So if you like Emerald Amethyst and you want to try something else, I think this is a good idea to try. But I'm pretty sure the gameplay is kind of the same. I would say the Amethyst version is more tempo. This version is just like turbo lore almost, I'd want to say. So you just have a lot of cards that get a lot of lore very easily and maybe a little bit chunky to remove. We do have like the Aurora, which we can shift into from the 2-drop, which the 2-drop being able to find a 2-drop that gets 2 lore is really great value for you there. But being able to shift into Aurora, being able to quest for 2 as well, but also being able to have ward to everything else means that your Flynn Riders, your Cheshire Cats, and your Jaspers are going to have a hard time. Like your opponent's going to have to attack into them, which is usually what you want them to do anyways, and your Mad Hatter too, which is great. They're also a 5-cost, which means you can let it go with it too if you just need some removal with it. So all of this I feel is just strong for the deck as well. Eyes of the Fates, being able to get like an additional lore if you need to. I find like sometimes I just need like 1 or 2 more lore, so being able to have a card that just gives it to me gets me there is strong. And then like Maleficent, just a well-statted vanilla. It has 3 lore, and it's if you play this on curve, your opponent's probably going to have a moderately difficult time. They're going to have to either give up some tempo or just let you like quest with this once or twice, which is a lot of lore you can get for that. So I don't really have much more to say. I think this is a really interesting looking build, and I'm going to have to try it myself because I do really like Emerald in this game right now, and this looks like a good pairing for it as well. So this list, congratulations to Michael for their 3rd place. And then our final color combination is Amber and Steel, which we did win the PPG Denver event a couple weeks ago as well, and I do think it's a good pairing. The synergy is pretty obvious in the fact that like you have Ariel, who not only can find a song but plays, can sing a 5 or less, and we have 2 very good 5-cost songs in Steel in Grab Your Sword and Whole New World. This card, I'm still on the fence if Whole New World is a good card or not. I'm still on the fence of like the side of yes, it is. Sometimes you can't just slam it and play it anytime. Like the time that you have to play it is very specific, and it's not just, again, you can't just slam it all the time. But I think more times than not, it's really good. I think it's poor into Ruby and Amethyst control, because most of the time they will just get a lot of benefits, more benefits than you more times than not. But I think the card is generally good. So being able to search it off Ariel and then being able to sing it off Ariel is great. I do also like the addition of the Captain Hook. So this one I haven't seen in most decks, but being able to, again, shift for 3 on top of a Captain Hook is great. But also the fact that it's a 5-cost, so you can sing your songs like Grab Your Sword or Whole New World if you really need to. It has challengers of 5/5, and then also characters cost of 3 or less can't challenge this, which is a neat little, cute little effect at the end of the day. But it's interesting. I'll have to try out this version of it, but I think that's strong. And then you play your 1s and 2 drops. Obviously, Lilo into Simba is really strong in the fact that it just protects you, get a lot of early lore when you need to. Tinkerbell, being able to go, shift into Tinkerbell. And also Beast, being able to be, this is a 5-cost, which means it can sing your songs as well, but also the fact that it can get rid of items, which I think like a lot of control decks are running right now. So it's a nice little effect. Worst case, you just ink it and you're fine. But I do like running at 2 copies in my own build just for that kind of flexibility for you. So I think that's kind of all I want to talk about this one. I do like this one, and if Whole New World is kind of rough for you against like Amber and Amethyst, I feel like, or it's not Amethyst, Ruby and Amethyst, I think this is a really good card to kind of out that deck, in the fact that you make them discard 2, and they're just a really big control deck, so they really don't have 2 to get rid of most of the time. So I do like this card. I usually run it at like more than 2 copies in my builds, but I really wish if this was a song. If this was a song, it'd be so good. It's not, and I understand why it's not, but man, that'd be very, very tasty. So, but in general, I think this deck is good. There's a lot of good cards for it. It's a little expensive, which probably means it's a good deck. And congratulations to Brandon for their finish there. And to wrap it up, I do also just want to talk about Daniel's list real quick, just because it was a little bit different. It's a little bit more of like the princess focus. A little bit, we're playing like a lot of the similar cards for it, but we're not playing like the 6-drop stitch package. We are playing the 7-drop stitch, which can help you draw more cards and keep your hand size healthy, which is great. And then it's a 7-drop that 4/8 with lore for 2, so that's good for you as well. But it's just kind of an interesting build. No Whole New World either. We are playing Grab Your Sword, but just so you get some removal off your smash and fire the cannons, be our guest, part of our world. The Kuna Matata, just to be able to find like more cards with Ariel and then be able to ink them, which is good. Cinderella as well, being able to you get to do some cool things with this Cinderella if you pair it up with your Moana. So whenever this quest, you can ready your other princesses. They can't quest for the turn, so you could like quest with Cinderella, and then after you restand it, you can't quest again, but you can tap it to remove 3 damage from any princess, including itself. And it can also be a Moana, it can be Ariel, it can be a Rapunzel. We also play like the Maximus for like another bodyguard. So all this is good. It's a 5-cost as well, which means it can play Grab Your Sword, like all these. So it's maybe a little bit slow on the start, but it's an interesting build, and I'm going to probably have to try this one out too and see what I think about it. So anyways, this is Daniel's list, and that's going to be the video for us today. So thank you guys so much for watching. I really do appreciate it. Again, thank you to PPG for not only running the event, but providing the deck list. And let me know if there are any other events that you guys know of that you guys want coverage or anything else. I can try my best. I really do want to go over like deck lists for this game, and the deck building process I think is still really cool. And we're almost already in like getting into set 2, which is really interesting. So anyways, that's going to be it for me. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll catch you all next time.